How's it going, guys? Chappy Gaming here, and today we're joined with my co-op partner on Halo Wars 2, Nista. How's it going, Nista?
Yeah, good mate, yourself?
Yeah, not too bad, thanks. Thank you for joining us in this video. Um, so in this video we're both going double Decimus, and we're doing a bit of a new strategy, one that everyone's probably mostly familiar with. This is just, I guess, our build guide, and doing it joint together in 2v2, finding it really powerful, aren't we? That, by the way, is the Locust Rush as well. I might introduce that. How are you finding it, Nista?
Yeah, it's one of the most effective rushes we've done so far. Don't think we've had a loss yet.
No, I don't think we have yet either. So, just to give you guys a bit of a brief history on how me and Nista have been going together as co-op partners on the game, we've had 45 wins out of 54 losses overall. And then in seasons, 24 wins out of 28, reached Diamond Ranks 2 in Ranks 2v2. I'd say we've been making a bit of a solid partnership, would you say, mate?
Yeah, wouldn't have any other partner.
Cheers, mate. So
Yeah, and in the normals, as you were saying, there was quite more losses than we'd hoped for, but that was just from having been grouped with some random third as well. Not being able to do the tactics we want to do.
Definitely not. We've not been getting the best of luck with our third party member in them random 3v3s, have we?
No.
No. So I just want to quickly talk through the build order in the opening. Probably should have done it a little bit earlier, but that's okay. You want to start off with a generator. As soon as that's built, upgrade it. You want to queue up a supply pad, build a chopper, send your chopper out to the further parts of the map to collect the larger resources, and trying to collect the enemy resources also, put him on the back foot. A bit like Nista's doing here, is just harassing him, and you want to send your grunts out for the more closer resources. The first leader power you want to get is Killing Frenzy, which is a passive power, and gives you a slight buff when fighting against the enemy, and then followed on by Siphon. If Nissa, you just want to explain to people what Siphon is?
Yeah, so Siphon, you just it's an AoE. You just put it on your units, and whichever units you target, they'll just gain like a lifesteal kind of deal. They'll just get health back for their attacks.
So it's really effective at keeping your units alive, wouldn't you say?
Yeah, so if you start getting focused down and if you're attacking something, you'll be gaining your health back. You'll just be a bit of a nuisance to destroy.
Yeah, definitely. So we've been doing the brute jump pack rush in the last couple of videos. How do you think this compares with that rush?
I'd say it's a lot easier to take on your enemy's bases from a distance. You don't have to worry about all their units coming out of the base. You're not right on them when they come out, and dodging their leader powers. You're always on the move. Yeah, and they're a lot faster than the ground units.
Yeah, and you were having trouble because you were using the brutes, and I was building infantry with the UNSC. You were finding the brutes were a little bit clumsy at actually targeting the main base, weren't they?
Yeah, so they started attacking the turrets like you usually would, and then when you tell them to target the main base, they get stuck on the supply pads and generators and whatnot, and they can't actually all get to it, so it's not as effective as having like 10 beams from your Locust attacking the base all at once.
Especially at such a range as well, wouldn't you say?
Yeah.
One thing I'm finding really good about the Locust is just the whole mobility of them, the range. Like I say, I find them really overpowered at the moment. They're probably going to, I'd imagine they would get some form of a nerf, especially if we keep doing what we're doing in our games. I feel like, you know, right now I'm seeing a lot of the brute jump pack rushes happening, and now we might actually start seeing a lot more Locust rushes happening, wouldn't you say?
Yeah, so the Locusts, I reckon, are just right now they're in a good spot, but still a bit overpowered.
Yep.
So you get the brutes rushing you, and you can just kite them. They can't get close to you unless they jump back, and at that point you just run back, and they can't do it again for another, I don't know how long, just not long enough. You'll just kill them before they get it back.
Especially you don't want to go the way that they've just jumped from, because there's a good chance they've got the talents on, where when they do their jump, they drop the cluster bombs, and they'll mess up your units and stun them, won't they?
Yeah, so they leave a trail of mines behind if they've got that leader ability, and you just don't want to go where they've come from. Or if they jump over the top of you, you don't want to go along that line. You want to get out of there as fast as you can.
You just mentioned before about kiting units that need to be much closer at range to fight the Locust. Do you want to just explain to people kiting if they're not familiar with it?
Yeah, so as I see it, if they're a melee unit and you've got your Locust, which obviously have a really long range with their abilities, you just want to use that ability to your advantage. Just keep them at your distance, because obviously they have to get onto you to damage you with their melee attacks. So you just want to, if they come running for you, you run backwards. Keep your distance from them. If they start running away, you chase after them. Just keeping them at your maximum range. They obviously can't hit you.
Solid tip. That's definitely something. If something that's not you guys are doing right now, especially with the Locust or like a Banshee or the Hornets, is kiting the unit and using the speed and distance that you have to your advantage. So right now, just to get back to the gameplay, hitting about the 5-minute mark. The second generator has been upgraded after HQ2, and we're pumping out the Locusts. At 5 minutes, you want to look at having about 5, as you see, and we want to make sure we're pushing up straight away. I think having 10 together is more than enough to start an attack, wouldn't you say?
Not even 10. If you got 7, both of you together, that's still a decent force going towards a single base. It's not possible to defend unless you've got a counter to the Locust. But even then, 14 units coming at you and another 2 in each base still getting built in the foundries. It can't be stopped, really.
No. We always feel like we get to a point where we know we're going to win, don't we? You know, it's around the 5-minute mark. We haven't seen much of the enemy, and we have 10 Locusts all up with 4 together queuing up. You know, we feel quite confident. Game, set, and match, don't we?
Yeah, but on that point, even if you do feel it doesn't matter how your game's going. If you know you're going to win, it doesn't matter. You want to keep pumping out your Locusts. Just go back to your base, queue a couple more, like you see on the video now. Go back to your units as fast as you can. Use your D-pad hotkeys. Just never take your eyes off your team, and just always stay on the move.
Definitely, like Nistus just pointed out there, staying on the move is really important, especially when going back to your base. And if you're not already using your hotkeys, like I said, it's very important. It's getting back from the fight to your base quickly. You want to make sure if you're actually doing that, you've set a waypoint for your units to make sure that they're on the move. So think about the Locusts, they can still attack while moving, and while you're going back to the basic units, they're on the move and they're not at danger or risk of some form of leader power to wipe them out. So we've got some Sentinels up in the air, just giving Mister a bit of grief here, something you're not really liking at the moment.
Yeah, not a fan of the Sentinels. I've heard horror stories about pre-patch, but I wasn't actually playing at that point. But even now, I just find them so annoying.
Yeah, pre-patch, they're a lot faster and could do a lot more damage to buildings. I'm not sure if they've had a bit of a bit of a nerf on their overall damage to units, but I don't really think it's too much of an issue. As you can see when I joined yesterday, just making sure we're targeting the same unit all at once and we can absolutely rip through them. So as you can see, 8-minute mark coming up now. We've ripped through their 2 original bases and now we're looking for some expansions. So let's see how we're going around here.
Yeah, just as you were talking, with the Sentinels coming up, I saw you go back to your base and start building some Reapers. That's a really good method for their counterattacks as well.
Definitely. We've had like I say, we haven't had a loss yet, but we've had a few close calls with the Locust Rush, haven't we?
Yeah, so they started building a whole lot of air support and just wiping us out, but we just started queuing a whole bunch of Reapers, so we had half of Reapers and Locusts, and that duo just wiped them.
Yeah, it was a really good sort of a counter, and the Reavers and the Locusts binded really well together, didn't they, in that game?
Yeah, both had solid range, and they were a counter to a lot of the enemies that a lot of units that the enemy was making. Yeah,
definitely.
And another close call we had was that we went into a 3v3, and our teammate just got rushed straight away, and he wasn't going for a rush game or anything. He was preparing for a long game. Yeah, started building his second base at 4 minutes or so, and he just got rushed straight away by a bunch of infantry, and his second base got wiped out. I guess he was a bit upset that we didn't go to help him. We didn't have any units at the time, so we couldn't.
It was very early on, yeah.
Yeah, so his second base got wiped out, and he just wasn't happy about that, so he disconnected, destroyed his main base as well, which didn't. He didn't think to maybe help us out by slowing them down by leaving their base up. So
he spat the dummy, didn't he?
Yeah, so he just destroyed his base, and they came straight for us.
I think at that point we already had about 5 Locust each, and I believe we went on to win that game in a 2v3, didn't we?
Yeah.
I think that sort of explains how powerful this is. Hey?
Yeah, so we just wiped out their infantry units because obviously they're pretty slow, and like we said, we were kiting them back up and down hills. They couldn't get close to us. We just took them out slowly, and then one by one took down each of their bases.
Definitely. And as you were just touching on before, our teammate in that 3v3 had a second expansion built within the 2 to 3 minute mark. I think that's one of the worst things you can do is build a second base really quickly. I think it's more important to just sort of upgrade what you've got and try and get a strong army out at the 5 minute mark. Building that second base in the 3 minute mark is just going to set you back for the rest of the game. So the video.
It's a lot harder to defend against as well. Trying to set up your second base, you'd have to save a lot more resources to get the turrets and all the units out, and it's a lot harder to defend than having one base.
So the video's just coming up to a wrap here, guys. I'd just like to thank Nista for joining us.
Yeah, no worries, my pleasure.
Thanks for watching, guys. Please like, comment, and subscribe.